We leave Tuesday, but it's like a whirlwind to get here.
to lift the baffled king, composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You say I took the name in vain, but I don't even know the name. But if I did, well really, what's it to ya? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter what you've heard. The holy and the broken, hallelujah, 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 I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool ya. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue. Hallelujah, hallelujah,
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Cincinnati. And happy Juneteenth, and happy Father's Day. My name is Dan Schneider, and Tim Krause and I are your worship associates today. Located on the ancestral lands of the Adena, Hopewell, Miamia, and Shawnee people, our urban community welcomes all with love, supports learning and spiritual growth, serves our wider community, and works for justice, equity, and inclusion. We're glad you're here this morning. During the service, you may hear mention of programs or other things that interest you. And at the end, there will be announcements of upcoming events. If you'd like to learn more about these events, our community, or any of our programs, please contact us at member-care@firstuu.com. We begin our time together by lighting our chalice, the chosen symbol of our faith, with these special words of Lori Gorgas Holleben in honor of Pride Month. We light our chalice flame for those who lived their lives in closets of shame, for those who furtively visited the bars where nobody knew your name, for the Stonewall riot and the fierce trans women who fought, for the plague, which still takes far too many, too young, too soon. So many gone, so many never lived to see our gay kids singing on TV. Out gay kids singing on TV. Out gay people serving in the military. Marriage equality. Families formed by intention. We light our chalice flame for all these and for all our siblings of the rainbow, surviving, living life out in the open with pride. And now please remain standing if you would like and greet your neighbors.
Some Daddies by Carol Gordon Exter. Illustrated by Javiera McLean Alvarez. Every daddy is different. Some daddies wake up whistling. Others need time before they talk. Some joke around and tell stories. Others like to listen. Some daddies blend fruit smoothies. Others sip steaming coffee or tea. Some chug a mug of milk. Others fill water bottles. Some daddies dress in suits. Others put on protective gear or uniforms. Some work from home in pajamas. Others wear comfy clothes to care for you. Every daddy is different. Some daddies grow scratchy stubble. Others choose soft skin with a smooth chin. Some hide their lips with a fancy mustache. Others' beards drop down to their bellies. Some daddies shoot hoops. Others hike woody trails dense with the smell of pine. Some ski the slopes. Others glide along city streets. Some daddies create art. Others prune plants. Some putter about. Others spend time reading or napping. Every daddy is different. Some daddies teach you about the world. Others attend tea parties. Some help turn blankets into forts. Others hold you steady while you pedal. Some daddies push you high, then higher. Others toss balls to you and the dog. Some hold their arms out to catch you. Oops! Every daddy makes mistakes. Every human does. Some daddies share comforting words and cry with you. Others love making you laugh. Some barely hug. Others hug like bears. Every daddy is different. Some whip up meals from scratch. Others prefer to grill. Some dish out delivery. Others dine without you, wishing you were there. Some daddies tuck you in with a song. Others with a book or two. Some with a snuggle. Others with a funny-faced goodnight. Some daddies are yours from the time you were born. Others are favorite grown-ups, chosen for a special day or all your life. Some pick you, some you pick. Others share you with another daddy. It's absolutely true. Every daddy is different. Every child is too. I wonder what makes your daddy, or the daddy-like people in your life, special to you.
Good morning. And we come to that part of our service where we recognize our joys and our sorrows. And obviously, one of the great joys on a day like today is the joy of having fathers. As imperfect as fathers can be, it's always something that we need to recognize, the joy that we've gotten from our fathers as well. And when we recognize our joys and sorrows, we are bringing those with us. And we have a ritual that we use. We use these stones and this water. The stones represent a joy or a sorrow that we're carrying with us. And the water is the power of love surrounding those joys and those sorrows. And I do have one sorrow to share with you. Our dear member, Mary Tarbell Green, lost her sister last night, Peggy Shearer, in a long battle with cancer, and she died about 1:30 in the morning this morning. Her family was with her. They had a wonderful week. For your joys and your sorrows. I'm going to drop 3 more stones. One for those we have named, both verbally and in our hearts. For those people who have gone unnamed, and unknown, we drop another stone. And lastly, for those whose names and memories we hold close to our hearts and remain unspoken. We do have a joy of the flowers from the Schaefer family, Philip and Rebecca, in honor of their collective fathers, I gather. Is that right? Rebecca is saying, no, it's for Philip. We have a special tribute for you, Philip, when we get to the point of tributes to fathers. So these flowers are in honor of Philip and also the other fathers and their family. So I have a reading that I would like to read about fathers. As we look at the flowers, I will read. It's called A Prayer for a Complicated Father's Day by Lynn Cox. Holidays are complicated, especially the ones named after roles. Human relationships are messy, including relationships with people who are honored by holidays. For a lot of people, Father's Day brings up feelings of grief for fathers who were lost or couldn't be there or who chose not to be there. Father's Day might bring up feelings of sorrow or regret for people who wanted to be fathers and haven't been able to be and who haven't been able to be the fathers they wanted to be for their kids. Today might be a day of divided loyalties for people who may have called more than one person father or dad in the course of their lives. Then there are the people of a variety of genders who are father figures, step-parents, and mentors for young people who don't get the recognition they deserve today or any day. On the other hand, Father's Day can be joyful and sweet, remembering the times when dads or granddads or role models were there for us. For people who have a positive relationship with a living father figure, today may very well include happy phone calls, funny greeting cards, and tacky ties. For contented new fathers, today might be full of wonder and hope as they get used to their new title. And for a lot of people, there will be a mix. Even the best of dads fall short sometimes. Some fathers who struggle still have their shining moments, but nothing is simple. So here's my prayer. May we be grateful for the nurturing we have received in our lives from the sources both hidden and obvious. May we heal from the losses highlighted by Father's Day. May we nurture each other and the generations to come. May the friendship and love we have in our lives today ease the pain and amplify the positive memories of our past. May this day be a day of reconciliation and peace. Please join me in a moment of silent meditation, reflection, or prayer.
Contributions to the June Share the Plate will benefit Lighthouse Youth and Family Services. Lighthouse Youth and Family Services was established in 1969 to provide support to vulnerable teen girls coming out of the juvenile justice system. Lighthouse expanded its services and reach in the ensuing years, and today Lighthouse provides a continuum of services that assists over 4,000 youth and families each year in overcoming obstacles and barriers that prevent them from thriving. Lighthouse provides foster care and adoption, mental health services, juvenile justice services, shelters for homeless youth and young adults, residential treatment, independent living opportunities, and life skills training. Just down the street from our church, the Shakely Center for Youth is focused on preventing and ending youth homelessness in Cincinnati. The Shakely Center is a 36-bed emergency shelter serving transition-aged youth, ages 18 to 24. In addition to the emergency shelter, the center has 39 units of permanent housing apartments to provide support to young adults as they move into the world. Here, transition-aged youth have access to care, to case management, housing services, a day resource center, and mental and physical health services. All services are strengths-based and utilize trauma-informed care to further achieve Lighthouse's mission of empowering young people and families to succeed through a continuum of care that promotes healing and growth. Here's how you can support this important work. Giving to First Church is easy. You can text the word GIVE to 513-717-7373. If you have access to our member Breeze account, you can go online to Breeze and click Give Now. You can also go to our website and give online at www.firstuu.com, and you can mail a check to the church here at 536 Linton Street, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45219. And if you do contribute to our Share the Plate, please put Lighthouse Youth Services on the memo line.
Father figures and fathers. That's who we're honoring today. And we're going to start with a slide from Vivian Klein. And this is a slide of a picture of a violin. And so hopefully, yeah, there it is. And this is Vivian's reflection on her father. My father was what would be called today homeschooled. His family deciding that he was weak. Home was a 4-story brownstone on the Upper West Side of Manhattan on 91st Street, when much of the city was down around 4th Street. He had a tutor who took him on hikes as he learned German, math, science, and literature. He took the trolley up to Columbia University for college and medical school and vowed to remain single until he earned enough money to move his parents into an apartment. When he did that, he brought my mother there and used the 2nd floor for an office, becoming a busy pediatrician. The youngest of 3 children, I have an early memory of knowing his whereabouts as his Phi Beta Kappa key jingled against his gold watch chain that showed across his slim figure. He wrote clever poems and played the violin when time allowed. Beloved by his many patients, he was given a party when he reached 75, full of songs and skits. He knew and loved classical music and would play a game of whistling a tune and making another guess what it was. Because his life was so full and I was the youngest, my times with him were alone were very special. After hours, he and I used a darkened room to develop the pictures he had taken with his Leica on our summer vacations. Perhaps my interest in the visual arts started back then. What a wonderful memory, Vivian. It's so great. The next slide is one of my father. Actually, 3 pictures, one from World War II, one at home, and one in Mississippi where he was working to rebuild houses. Many summers, my dad gave up at least one of his 2 vacation weeks to be a church camp counselor. Very rarely did we ever take a family vacation. Later, after my brothers and I left home, he spent vacations doing disaster relief, rebuilding houses demolished by hurricanes and tornadoes in various locations around the country. He loved that kind of work because he always wanted to be helping people who were down on their luck. Service in the form of manual labor was what he did best. That kind of religious service work defined him because he never truly thought his job as a furniture salesman was all that rewarding. In their retirement, they had an active schedule of family activities and service work. On the day that he and my mom died in a car accident, they were both returning from their weekly volunteer shifts they did at the church's retirement community. He did the maintenance work and she cut the hair for the residents. They also delivered Meals on Wheels in their hometown several days a week. At their memorial services, many people stood up to remind my brothers and me that our parents were always thinking of others and what they could do to assist in making life better. That was a life and a legacy that was worth celebrating. Next, we have a slide from Stephen Marks. With several pictures. I have been blessed by having 3 fathers and 3 father figures who taught me how to be kind, loyal, considerate, generous, and creative. Their legacy inspires me to think about what I can offer my own children. My father, Colin Frost, I have a photo of you, which I cannot find, buried in the boxes of books. I know that you loved me since you told me so at Waterloo Station 6 weeks before you died. It was the last time I ever saw you, one of the 10 or so times that we actually met. I wish we had known each other better. My father, Dr. James Wetter, a Cornish historian and activist, you were the first person I had as a father from the age of 2 to 6. You loved me so. And after you and my mother divorced in 1971, you kept trying. We lost each other, and then we found each other again. You were steadfast, loyal, indestructible. I really miss you. I realized that I should have called you Dad. Thank you for that love. My other father, Graham Fox, You were married to my mother for over 40 years and came into my life at the age of 12. You were devoted to my mother, and in a quiet, determined way, me too. You cared night and day for my mother during her terrible illness and helped me come to terms with diabetes when I was extremely sick. I am sad that what we have most in common is my mother, but I keep trying in your way, and I think you do too. My uncle, John Roberts, my uncle not by blood, but you might as well be, of the men still alive in my life, you've known me now the longest. You taught me to tie my shoelaces. We lost touch for a decade in the 90s, but I was so glad that we are there for each other. I was deeply honored when you asked me to say your words for the passing of your dear son, Tom, my first cousin. You are one of the people I am always glad to be around. Family friend, Colin Wilson, a writer. So many stories, generous, volcanic, funny, and kind. As a child, I was afraid of you and your temper, but I came to understand that was your way and you needed to get your writing done. Even Graham was afraid of you, and I remember most of all your generosity. And lastly, family friend, Professor Mike Green. Mike, I was always impressed by your intellect, by the devotion to your family and wife, Jenny. Funny, prescient, and connected. You were meticulous. You had a passion for clocks, for medicine, and pathology. You were highly respected in your profession, but I loved how you were always interested in my career and how welcome you always made me feel. It's pretty special to have 6 father figures. That's a wonderful tribute, Stephen. Our next slide is from Sally Behringer. This is my dad, Paul Behringer, World War II Navy vet, and the person who introduced me to Unitarian Universalism. He was also an audiophile and an early adopter of all things technical. The old school disc that's in the picture has a program that he wrote for me in 1978 to organize my research papers. It used his Apple I computer. Guess you can't use it on today's computers, can you? Guess there's a reason I'm on the AV team. Next, we have Rebecca Schaefer. Philip was a high school teacher, then he decided to make a career change and become a stay-at-home dad when Elliot was born. We both thought he would be good at it, but we both harbored some doubts about this uncommon decision. That all evaporated in the delivery room. Minutes after Elliot was born, I looked over at Philip holding him, and he was glowing. You could see an intense connection forming between the two of them that surprised us both. My doctor, who I had had for over 10 years, summarized the moment by matter-of-factly announcing to the room, "You are lucky he doesn't have a uterus, or you would have 10 more kids." In the 2 years since that day, Philip has continued to amaze me with his natural gift for parenting. He is incredibly in touch with Elliot's little world and shows me how to be a better parent every day. What a fantastic tribute. Ramona Beck wrote this about her father. "Alonzo is my father. I lovingly describe him as 6'3", black as coal, with a voice of thunder, and he called his children in birth order. I am number 1. You're a number 1 for a lot of people, Ramona. My father taught me to stand for justice and equity, even though sometimes afraid. He is a fierce protector of his family, an uneducated genius, blessed, brave, bold, and beautiful." Great tribute. Ms. Amber Woods has this to say. "We have 3 beautiful photos from Miss Amber. Miss Amber's son, Jera, with her stepdad, Desmond. Jera with his dad, Jarrell Sr., and Jera and his brother Javi with their dad." Amber didn't write anything, so we just included those captions for the pictures. And it shows that there's a lot of love there. A lot of love. Mary Mark. Frank Stein, 1923 to 2005, was a World War II veteran with a goofy sense of humor, slapstick hero, liked to sing and tease, a steadfast husband and father to 6 children. I was number 2 of 6 and miss him still. And now we have a tribute from Kara Ewell for her father.
Most of you who know my dad know that he loves baseball, and he spent many years coaching me in Little League, as depicted in the picture. What many of you might not realize is that he likes basketball too. Many moons ago, he coached a girls' high school basketball team, and to this day, he often attends local high school basketball games during the long winter months. When I was in junior high school, I played intramural basketball. I wasn't great, I wasn't even good, mostly because I was so timid. I was so terrified of making a mistake, I held back in every way. Looking back, I'm pretty sure my dad saw this happening both on the court and off and knew he needed to step in. My dad went to all my games. I knew how to dribble, how to shoot, I knew the rules. What I needed was someone to tell me that it's okay to take up space, to take chances, to even be aggressive at times, and that if I make a mistake and the whistle was blown because of something I did, that's okay. He told me this simply. I had to foul. At my next game, I had to foul. I don't remember much of anything about that next game except being nervous. And then I remember looking at my dad in the stands and feeling brave. I fouled, likely a timid foul, but still it was called. And while my coach pulled me aside to explain what I had done wrong, having never seen me foul before, my dad stood up and clapped, while I'm sure everyone thought he had lost his ever-loving mind. Any big, scary things since then, I've needed a dose of bravery. I just close my eyes and think of my dad, standing up and clapping, not caring what anyone else thinks, letting me know it's okay to be, all caps. Because of my dad, my game of life is a lot more exciting.
And we have more reflections and more pictures from the members of this church. We'll start with June Schliff. There they are. June submitted this memory entitled Winter's Warmth. It was January in Minnesota, but I, June, was securely warm 300 miles south at a small rural hospital in Iowa. At the age of 12, in those days before modern anesthesia and multiple antibiotics, I was spending the month recovering from a ruptured appendix. Work and school demands had required my family to return to Minnesota without me. I was sure my father cared about me, although he seldom expressed it. One day I received a postcard from him. He wrote something like this: "The temperature is minus 37 degrees. I am starting to walk to the post office. If you get this, you will know I made it." It was the warmth of winter, laughter amid the tears. Thank you, June. Next is Jane K. From Jane K. My dad, John Howard K., was a hard-working man who did his best to provide for his family. Not too long after this photo, which I guess we don't have today, unfortunately. Oh, I'm sorry, okay, that is Jane's, okay. Not too long after this photo, he suffered a heart attack and then a series of debilitating strokes. He spent the last 12 years of his life completely disabled. From Jan Connolly. Whether big or small, my dad, Art Connolly, always showed great joy at absolutely all of my accomplishments. And there he is. From Ellen Wathen. Ellen Wathen. Oh, that's not Ellen.
Must have been James.
Okay, this is Ellen, I'm sorry. Okay, this is Ellen. In the photo, here I am when I'm about 3 years old, looking delighted and standing next to my father, Bill Relihan, who wears his usual white shirt, pressed khaki pants, and sporting a crew-cut haircut. My father was tall, handsome, charming, and I adored him. Dad loved Frank Sinatra songs, games like gin rummy and chess, funny stories, donuts, and gardening. He taught me, my brother, and sister to have a soft spot for animals and got us our first pets. In the backyard of our house, there was a low wall, and Dad would catch us kids when we jumped off the wall. All around the yard were rope swings he hung in the trees so we could swing. We were absolutely crazy about him. Unfortunately, my parents divorced when I was 11, and Dad moved to Hawaii. But I'm grateful to him for giving me a lovely childhood and teaching me what love and gentleness feels like. Thank you, Ellen. Next is my dad, Dan Schneider. This is a photo of my dad, Paul Schneider, in his World War II uniform, which means it's taken before I was born. My dad was the greatest influence in my early life. He always encouraged me and showed great patience with my immaturity as a child. He showed me by example the right way to live, especially by treating all with respect and kindness. I recall a time when, as a teenager, I backed our car out of the garage on our farm and forgot to close one of the back doors first. The resulting damage was terrible, and I felt ashamed and embarrassed. Dad just said, "We will get it fixed." He did not criticize me, and instead demonstrated grace and forgiveness. I could not have asked for a better father. Next, Bev Baker. Picture of Bill and his son. Grandson, I believe, grandson. Bill Baker brought wisdom, patience, and many handyman skills and an abundance of love into my family when we married. Bill has been a wonderful grandfather to all of the 7 grandchildren in our combined family, but he had a special relationship with grandson Nick Baker. Nick was raised by a single mother with no dad around, so Bill gave much time, guidance, and abundant love to Nick as he was growing up. The picture speaks volumes about how Nick feels about Bill. Next, we have photos from Barbara Newman. Barbara shares 3 photos. John was a wonderful father to both of our children. Our son played on a soccer team. There it's pictured. At one point, the team had no coach. John wanted Brian's friends to stay together as a team. He took the training to become a coach. John never played soccer before, but the boys did not care that they did not win games. All they cared was that they got to play with their friends for all the practices and games. They practiced drills and learned the rules of the game together. All the boys got to play at each game and got their snacks. A couple years later, Ken Sill found a coach who needed a team to take over. These group of boys got to stay together as a team because of John. My son posted yesterday on Facebook that June 12th is Loving Day. In 1967, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the laws that banned interracial marriages. What a gift my father gave me when he accepted and welcomed John as his son-in-law, just 7 years after interracial marriages were allowed. My father came to the USA when he was 16 years old. For my parents, who had an arranged marriage and were relocated and incarcerated during World War II, this was an amazing, loving gift from my father. He chose love over prejudice and faith over fear. My son and his partner foster a baby girl. After 2.5 years, they were able to adopt her. They got married so both of their names could be on adoption papers, and afterwards celebrated with friends and family. Haley is loved. She now attends Dater. And the next is from Barbara Bonney. Barbara says, I just have words for my memory, no video or photo. My dad took us 4 kids to the library often while Mom made dinner. Our first library cards were celebrated, and the first book we chose was made into a family ritual. Dad modeled reading at home and made sure we had access to the world in libraries. And my last one is from Amber Seeley Marks. I don't think we have the photo that is referred to here, so our apologies to Amber. Amber says, my father, Donald Seeley, grew up helping in his father's Triumph motorcycle dealership in Hilliard, Ohio. As a way to connect with his distant father, he would promote the family business through riding their motorcycles in races in the 1950s and 60s, mostly endurance races. He won a lot of trophies, which sat on high shelves in our garage my entire childhood, a testament to his connection to his father. Later, he bequeathed those trophies, one each, to his 23 grandchildren, whom he proudly called his real life's trophies. The photo of him, which we cannot see, was taken at my parents' 50th wedding anniversary with his last remaining Triumph motorcycle and each grandchild holding one of his trophies. He died unexpectedly 8 months after the photo was taken, and we each now have one of his trophies to remember him, his youth, and his connection to his father. And now Tim Krause has a reading for us.
Well, first of all, thank you to all who submitted pictures and reflections, to those who carry their memories deep in their hearts. We close with this reading by Janet Bowery entitled, The Many Names for Mother, Father, Parent. Blessed is the person who feeds and warms, washes and comforts a child and soothes them in illness, for they shall be called caregiver. Blessed is the person who gives shelter and food, clothing, toys, banks, books, and tools, for they shall be called provider. Blessed is the person who opens doors in the child's experience, who explains the puzzling and wonders at the mysterious, for they shall be called teacher. Blessed is the person who shields a child from that which will wither or warp, who protects a child from abuse and exploitation, who guards against bullying and scorn, for they shall be called defender. Blessed is the person who takes the time to listen, who is there for a child in the darkness, who is aware of the fears, who speaks the words of encouragement in moments of despair, for they shall be called sustainer. Blessed is the person who guides a child in the search for beauty, who encourages them at what is daunting, who steadies them as they explore new experiences, who fires their aspiration and their dreams, for they shall be called the inspirer. Blessed are all these persons who help bring an infant along many paths to maturity, for in them is the future well-being of all of humanity. As we end our service, we extinguish our chalice, and we'll read together the words that appear on the screen as soon as Lois gets up here for our extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace. I have one reminder of next week. There will not be a service here in this sanctuary because it will be the General Assembly service. There will be a link sent out to everyone. I think Rihanna Andrews, our church administrator, will be sending that link out to people. So, and also be aware that it will be at a later time. It will be at noon, since it's going to happen at 9 o'clock on Pacific time. So the service, which will be closing out the General Assembly, will be at 12 noon next Sunday on YouTube. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With a mind that holds a plan, with a hand that holds a key, with a heart that holds a dream, love reaches out. When a family's torn apart, when the street is all you have, when your faith begins to break, love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home, love reaches out. Through the pain your eyes have seen, through the voices in your head, through the war you still endure, love reaches out. To the man who asks for change, to the mother and the child, to the elder all alone, love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home, love reaches out. Let us take this night to strengthen and inspire. Let love and compassion be the source that fuels the fire. If you find yourself in need, if you fear what lies ahead, if we forge a path of trust, love reaches out. Where hope replaces hate, where wounds begin to heal, where we all will have a home, love reaches out. side, bringing you home. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home. Love